One of the most influential women on Wall Street, Carla Harris is a vice chairman, managing director, and senior client advisor at Morgan Stanley. A highly celebrated leader, Carla was appointed by President Barack Obama to chair the National Women's Business Council. Named to Fortune magazine's list of the 50 most powerful Black executives in corporate America, Fortune's most influential list, Black Enterprise's top 75 most powerful women in business, and top 75 African Americans on Wall Street. Carla Harris is actively involved in her community and heartily believes that we are blessed so that we can be a blessing to someone else. She's a member of the Board of Overseers of Harvard University and of the Board of Directors of the Walmart Corporation. Carla is also the author of the books Expect to Win and Strategize to Win. Let's give a warm summit welcome to Carla Harris.
Well, good afternoon, Global Leadership Summit 2018. And good afternoon to our Global Leadership Summit remote folks who are tuning in. Good afternoon to you too. I am so excited to be here today, and I am honored, and I say thank you for the invitation to spend a few minutes with you today to talk about what I would think about as powerful, impactful, influential leadership. I like to call them Carla's pearls of leadership, my hard-earned and hard-learned pearls after being a woman on Wall Street as of this summer for 31 years. I dare say, ladies and gentlemen, I have learned a few things about not only surviving, but more importantly, thriving in the seat that you sit in or the seat that you aspire to sit in. And I've also learned a lot about powerful leadership because in my capacity as a banker, I've had the privilege of taking hundreds of companies public, doing hundreds of common stock transactions, and being right there in the room, eye to eye, looking at very powerful leaders and not so much. So I've come up with my own idea of what I think powerful, impactful, influential leadership looks like. And it's all in the letters of the word leader. The L stands for leverage. Powerful, impactful, influential leaders understand that there is no monopoly on intelligence. You won't always have the right idea. You won't always have the best idea. But somebody on your team has the intellect, the experience, or the access to a relationship that will allow you to successfully complete any objective that you might have for the team. But the key is to understand how to create an environment where those who are working with you, notice I said with and not for, those who are working with you want to contribute their best ideas. They dare to give you the out-of-the-box thought because they know that they will get credit for their contribution, and they know that there'll be no retribution for making a mistake. If people think that there'll be retribution for making a mistake, they're not going to give you the out-of-the-box idea. And in the environment that we are all competing in today, you need the out-of-the-box idea because there isn't one industry that I can think of, including a church ministry, where innovation is not the dominant competitive parameter. So you need those out-of-the-box ideas. So it's your job, if you are a powerful, impactful, influential leader, to create an environment where people want to contribute. If all roads lead back to you, then by definition, your success will be capped because you are one woman, you are one man. And there is not any successful leader that I've come across in my career, or frankly, in my life, that hasn't had a team or hasn't had to leverage other relationships in order to be successful. So as a powerful leader, it's also your job to show those who are working with you how to access other relationships so that they too can be leaders. And oh, by the way, if you haven't figured this out yet, Your job as a leader is to create other leaders. Leadership is a journey from execution to empowerment. It's not about the execution. It is about empowering other people. And trust me, there is no more powerful feeling than there is to empower somebody else. In fact, that's the secret of growing your power, is to give it away. The more you give it away, the more powerful you will become, because you create a very powerful leverage. As I like to say, he gives it, I get it, I give it away, and it goes back around. And every time it goes back around, it gets far more powerful each time. The E stands for efficiency. If you are a powerful, impactful, influential leader, you must be clear about what success looks like. That creates the efficiency on your team, and it leads to outsized productivity. If you are not clear about what success looks like, you create a tremendous amount of frustration on the food chain. You know you should be getting more from your team, but you don't understand why you're not getting it. They know that you're not happy, but they don't know what it takes to get you happy. And therefore, you start to create unproductivity on the team. People step back. They don't move forward because they are unclear. Even in the face of obscurity, when you don't know what is next, when you don't know what's going to happen this year, let alone this next quarter, let alone even in the next month or the next week, you must still define what success looks like. Don't be so afraid of making a mistake that you fail to define success. Because I believe as humans, we all want to do well. And when people know what they are playing for, they are naturally motivated to outperform that which they are playing for. And that outperformance will directly accrue to your status in the leadership seat. So even when you're not clear, define what it looks like. And oh, by the way, when you make a mistake, celebrate the mistakes. Celebrate the mistakes. If you want to have your team thinking innovatively, they must know that a mistake is almost as valuable as the success. As you heard Bishop say, you learn more when you fail. And I'm almost reluctant to call it a failure. I am actually more encouraged to call it a learning that might be a little bit more difficult, might be a little bit more ugly, but at the end of the day, it's a learning, because guess what? When it doesn't work this time, it informs your next success and it influences your next try. But you must create that environment as the leader. That is your responsibility. The A stands for authenticity. And I love talking about authenticity. In fact, it's the first chapter in my first book, Expect to Win. I did not intend for it to be the first chapter, but I kept getting questions from people. How do I bring my authentic self to work? How can I really be who I am? Ladies and gentlemen, your authenticity is at the heart of your power, and it is at the heart of powerful, impactful, influential leadership. Nobody can be you the way that you can be you. And the day that you received your opportunity to lead, somebody else didn't get that opportunity because you were the best person for the job. So the last thing that any of us should ever do is to submerge that which is uniquely you. Anytime that you're trying to speak or behave in a way that is inauthentic to who you really are, you will create a competitive disadvantage for yourself, because you're using valuable intellectual capacity that you could use to really hear what the person on the other side of that conversation is really saying, yet is not articulating. You're using valuable intellectual capacity that you could use to demonstrate a quick twitch response, valuable intellectual capacity that you could use to co-create with that person on the other side of the conversation. After 31 years on Wall Street, one of the things that I've learned is that most people are not comfortable in their own skin. So when they see someone who is comfortable and confident in their own skin, they will gravitate towards you. They absolutely want some of that. If your success, like mine, depends upon your ability to successfully penetrate relationships, the easiest way to penetrate a relationship is to bring your authentic self to the table. When you bring your authentic self to the table, people will trust you. And trust is at the heart of any successful relationship. This was a very interesting lesson for me to learn. As you might know, I am a singer. I have recorded 3 CDs and I've done 5 sold-out concerts at Carnegie Hall. But when I first started in this business, I didn't want anybody to talk about the fact that I was a singer. I wanted to be known as a no-nonsense, hard-driving, analytical, quantitative investment banker. I'm not here to sing and dance, boys. Let's not get it twisted. I didn't want anybody to talk about that until I saw the client reaction. Against my objections, my colleagues would often ask me to come into the room, meet this client, and they would say, oh, this is Carla Harris, our capital markets banker, but what you really ought to know about Carla, she's an amazing singer. She sung at Carnegie Hall and the Apollo and Lincoln Center, and I'm there rolling my eyes until I saw the reaction. Oh, you're a singer. Oh, I so admire people who can sing, and I personally love to sing, but my family will only let me sing in the shower. And maybe you can talk to my daughter about how she integrates her love of the arts and her academics. And there we were, having a 15-minute meeting before the meeting. Are you with me, GLS? The meeting before the meeting. So when I sat down to pitch, they heard me with a different ear. They saw me through a different lens because Carla Harris, the singer, was allowed to be in the room with Carla Harris, the banker. So I naturally differentiated myself from the other 5 bankers that would come in there and pitch that same IPO that afternoon. So now, whenever I go into a new situation, I bring Carla Harris, the investment banker, Carla Harris, the prayer warrior, Carla Harris, investment manager, Carla Harris, the singer, Carla Harris, the writer, Carla Harris, the speaker, Carla Harris, the mother, Carla Harris, the golfer, Carla Harris, the football fan. I bring all those Carlas to the table. Because frankly, I don't know which Carla will be the one that will connect and allow me to own that relationship in a proprietary way. Ladies and gentlemen, your authenticity is your distinct competitive advantage. Nobody can be you the way that you can be you. If you want to own a relationship in a proprietary way, bring your authentic self to the table. The question that I get all the time is, Carla, you know, how do I bring my authentic self to the table? I can't bring the real me. They can't take the real me. I can't do that. The thing to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are all multifaceted. We are all multifaceted. There's not just a funny part of you. There's not a serious part of you, a quantitative part of you, a creative part of you. The key to bringing all of you to the table all the time is that you must spend some time just with you. Understand who you are. Who are you when things get tough? Who are you when things get easy? Are you a great problem solver? Do you like to work in teams? Do you like to work on your own? You know, are you pensive? Are you reflective? Do you never do those kinds of things? Whatever it is, spend some time knowing who you are, because how can you bring your authentic self to the table if you don't know who you are? And oh, by the way, I'm a big fan of doing that a couple of times a year, especially when you have those years when there are life-changing events. Somebody close to you passes on. Somebody major in your life has disappointed you. Think about who you are now that you've gone through that kind of fire, because you should have changed. You should have evolved. That's what we do as humans in our frailty. But understand who you are. Then you can bring all of you into any room, into any kind of situation. Now, you don't have to have all facets of you on display at the same time. But you can bring all of you in the room, and then you can relax and meet people where they are. You can meet people where they are. I never go into a client situation anymore trying to think about what I can do to be impressive. What can I do? How can I say the right thing? How can I let them know that I've done all the research? I simply bring in Carla so that I can be free to see where they are. Because if I anticipate and I dare to speak and dare to put forth what it is I think will be impressive, what I think will allow me to connect, I will miss it. So understand who you are, bring all of that to the table, and then meet people where you are. You will have an authentic connection. And here's why it's so important, if you are in the leadership seat, to bring your authentic self to the table, is that when you bring your authentic self to the table, you will motivate and inspire those who are working with you to bring their authentic selves to the table. And when any of us is in an environment where we can be who we really are, we will always outperform. And that will now accrue to your status in the leadership seat. Another story I'd like to tell you is I was up for promotion, big promotion to managing director, and someone asked me to come and sing at the fixed income Christmas party. Now, again, I was in that mode, and I was like, I don't work in the fixed income department. That is not my boss, and why am I going to sing over there for their Christmas party? What am I doing? But that little voice, and we all know what that little voice is, right? When that little voice speaks, I have learned, and I had gotten mature enough to know that when that little voice speaks, don't ask any questions. Don't look left, don't look right, just go. That little voice said, no, you might want to do that. So when the person asked me again, I said, okay, I'll come, but I gotta go. I gotta go right afterwards. I'll come and I'll sing, and I gotta go. So I go up, I sing my song, and I'm walking down the stairs. There's somebody waiting for me at the end of the stairs. It was the head of the fixed income department. And he said, listen, thank you so much for coming. I know this is not your department. I know you might have had other things to do this evening, but I'd heard so much about your voice, and I really, really, really wanted to have you come, and had someone ask. So thank you for taking the time to come over and sing this song. And you know what, can I buy you a drink over at the bar, right? And I said, okay, well, we had a 45-minute conversation about the business. He got a chance to see who I was as a banker, how I thought about the markets, where I thought the business was going, et cetera, et cetera. Had never had any interaction with this guy at all. And little did I know he was the head of the promotion committee. That was definitely my Scooby moment. Huh? Now, if I had been on top of my high investment banking horse, I never would have done that. But Carla the singer yielded, and look what happened. So now, behind closed doors, when my name was called, he had something to say from that interaction. And all of the important decisions, as you all will probably know about your career, are made behind closed doors when you are not in the room. So somebody must be able to speak on your behalf. So being your authentic self gives you leverage. And it certainly gives you leverage as a leader. The D stands for decisiveness and diversity. I had the privilege of hearing Meg Whitman speak when she was CEO of eBay, and she said something that I will never forget. The price of inaction is greater than the cost of making a mistake. The price of inaction is greater than the cost of making a mistake. If you are a powerful, impactful, influential leader, you must be comfortable making the decisions. Your team is depending on you. Yes, you can gather data. Yes, you can solicit opinions, but at the end of the day, you must make the decision. And again, you cannot be so afraid of making a mistake that you fail to make a decision. Because once again, you will generate a lack of productivity on your team if people perceive that you have trouble making decisions. They'll say, oh, don't do that analysis. She's gonna ask for 20 more pieces of data. Oh, don't do that. He's gotta talk to 10 more people. Just wait. And there it is, lack of productivity. They start to lose trust in you. Part of what you have been tasked to do, part of your divine assignment as a leader is to make a decision. Make a decision, even in the face of incomplete information. Trust your judgment, trust your experience, and use your resources, i.e. your people, i.e. your relationship resources. If you've gotten to a moment where you have to make a decision, trust that you have everything that you need. Because I don't know about you, but I believe that where God guides, He provides. And if He brought you to it, He'll bring you through it. So you need to understand that you have everything you need. Stop and think about, well, I feel like I'm confused. I feel like I don't know what to do. Who can I call? Who's seen this before? What did I learn in my training? What experiences have I had that bring me to this moment that might inform this decision? But make the decision at the end of the day. Every experience that you have will give you one or two things, the blessing or the lesson, but both are valuable. The blessing is you get that which you were going for. The lesson is valuable because now it informs the next try. It influences the next success. So no matter what, make the decision. Now let's talk about diversity. I said earlier that every single industry was competing around innovation. Innovation is the dominant competitive parameter across all markets. And if you will agree with me, then you understand that you need a lot of ideas in the room to get to that one innovative idea that will allow you to obtain and retain a leadership position. And if you need a lot of ideas in the room, you need a lot of perspectives in the room because, frankly, ideas are born from perspectives. If you need a lot of perspectives in the room, you have to have a lot of experiences in the room because perspectives are born from experiences. And if you need a lot of experiences in the room, you better start with a lot of different people in the room because experiences are born from people. So that is your business case and your value proposition for diversity. Because to get to innovation, that one innovative idea, you have to start with a lot of different people in the room. And so often people ask me, well, Carla, what does it take to really have a successful diversity and inclusion program? It takes three things, ladies and gentlemen: intentionality, accountability, and consistency. Intentionality, accountability, and consistency. If you want to have a very diverse team where you're getting to the best ideas that you could possibly get to, you have to be intentional about making sure your team looks like that. Even if it means keeping the job description open a little bit longer so you can see more candidates. Even if it means you have 3 different people that are all highly qualified to do the job, but you want to make sure that there's some diversity in the team, you have to be intentional about how you choose. And oh, by the way, nobody's ever talking about lowering the bar. Let's talk about that right now. Because I hear leaders say all the time, yeah, we'd like to get some, but we don't want to lower the bar. Well, let me tell you, there's no woman or person of color that would ever want you to lower the bar. Because that devalues their contribution. Why would anybody ever want that? And even if it means you have to go outside of your organization to get new leaders, if you're gonna have to go outside to get new leaders, then the thing that I will tell you, the piece of advice that I will give you is that you have to guard against organ rejection. You have to guard against organ rejection. And I'll tell you how it goes. Most of you know what it means to have a kidney transplant or a liver transplant. You've heard of it, or you might know somebody who had one. But if you don't know, whenever you have a kidney transplant, the surgeons give you 20 different drugs solely for the purpose of having the body hold on to the kidney after the surgery. Despite the fact that the body needs the kidney, it will naturally dispel that which is foreign. It will naturally dispel that which is foreign. So when you bring new people into your organization, you must over-index in making sure that they're successful. Don't allow yourself to go to the easy excuse and say, oh, well, they just really didn't fit with our culture. To get to a leadership seat in most organizations, you have to go through 15 or 20 different interviews. So I refuse to say that the organization made a recruiting mistake after 15 different interviews, right? So you have to tell yourself something's happening in the house if the person doesn't make it. Clean up the house. Clean up the house. Because it takes a lot of time and money to recruit great senior talent into your organization. Trust the process. Trust the decision makers that you've chosen to do that. But hold people accountable. That's the A. People must be held accountable if you want to make sure that you have diverse teams. Ask the question. Couldn't find any? Where'd you look? Let's make sure we partner with organizations that can get us these kinds of candidates. And the C is consistency. In most situations, diversity and inclusion has been a bull market phenomenon. When things are going well, people are willing to focus. The minute we hit a bear market environment and margins are tight, profits aren't the same, it doesn't go away, but there's not the same focus. You have to keep the consistency if you want to have the outcome. And by the way, this next population of professionals that are now coming to us, the millennials, they care a lot about this. They have grown up in multicultural worlds, and they've grown up in a world where their mom has been a CEO or executive director of a major nonprofit. So if they don't see women in leadership positions, they're not coming to your organization. And if they come, they're not staying. And in most situations, your human talent is your most important talent. So you must make sure that you have a team that's reflective of the kind of organization where they want to come and they want to stay. The E stands for engagement. The second E is around engagement. If you are a powerful, impactful, influential leader, you must be engaged with your people. And you must be engaged to the level that you understand what it takes to the person to get outsized productivity. If you will allow me to generalize, I like to say that most people are motivated by one of three things. Some people are motivated by money and power. Some people are motivated by the public, attaboy or attagirl. And some people are motivated by the platform or the promotion opportunities. And if you are a powerful, impactful, influential leader, you will engage with your people so that you understand what it takes to get that outsized productivity. Powerful, impactful, influential leaders are also inclusive. And if you don't know what it takes to be an inclusive leader, being an inclusive leader means communicating to those who are working with you, I see you and I hear you. Everybody values being heard. Everybody values being heard. So when you say, I hear you, or did I understand you to say X? Let me make sure that I understand what you were trying to say. The person is now thinking, wow, she heard me. Wow, he was listening. And you have now generated immediate currency that you could use to build that relationship. And it is going to be about the relationship engagement, ladies and gentlemen, as we move into an environment where artificial intelligence is going to touch every single thing that we do. The differentiator is going to be around the relationships. And you have to be able to engage to do that if you are in fact going to lead people. And oh, by the way, people who may be working with you not in the same location. Because with technology, people will be able to work at home, work in remote locations. So if that is the case, how do we create a culture? We have created cultures today based on our ability to touch, the proximity. So it's going to be even more important that you understand how to engage with people in order to get everybody moving in the same direction. And then lastly, every now and then, you will get an opportunity to be a part of a human frailty or a disappointment, and it will cause you to be a transformative leader. And before I leave, I tell you that transformative leaders are four things. They are tenacious, they are thoughtful, they are transcendent, and they are transparent. The easiest way to get people to come along with you is to be transparent. Make sure that they know exactly what your intentions are. Get their fingerprints on the plan, because when people feel like they have touched the plan, everybody has something vested. I saw a great leader that I worked with before. He would know what he wanted to get done, but he'd go into a meeting and solicit everybody's voices. He would go back and forth and prod and get people to debate each other. But at the end of the day, what he thought he wanted to do, in most cases got done, but now everybody thought that they were the architect. Everybody thought that they created that, and everybody had something vested in the success. And oh, by the way, if it fails, everybody feels like they own some of that too. And that's a great place to be. Finally, the R is for taking risks. If you are a powerful, impactful, influential leader, you must be comfortable taking risks. You must be comfortable taking risks. 15 years ago, you could differentiate yourself as a leader if you had information that other people didn't have. But today, information is a commodity. So the way you differentiate yourself is to show that you're comfortable taking risks. But frankly, GLS, when I ask myself why we don't take more risks, The only thing I can come up with is that we're scared. We're just scared. It's fear. And hear me clearly. Fear has no place in your success equation. Fear has no place in your success equation. Anytime you approach anything in your life from a position of fear, you will always underpenetrate that opportunity. And when you are at a crossroads and you're not sure whether or not you should go forward, say this to yourself: I know exactly where I am right now, so it's clear about what no looks like. Why wouldn't I play for yes? Why wouldn't I play for yes? You have to have a sense of taking risks, and here's the one word that goes through all of those letters is courage. It takes courage, ladies and gentlemen, to be a powerful, impactful, influential leader. It takes courage to take risks. It takes courage to be decisive and to be intentional about diversity. It takes courage to engage with your team as a leader, as a vulnerable leader. It takes courage to bring your authentic self to the table. It takes courage to define success when you really don't know what success looks like. And it takes courage to leverage other people's intellect. It takes courage to speak truth to power. It takes courage to be that only voice in the room that's making sure everybody goes in the right direction and doesn't go off in another direction. It takes courage to call a thing when that thing is ugly and nobody wants to say it. It takes courage. But as people of faith, you know that you should never be besieged by fear. Because I'm sure y'all know that he did not give me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And with that, GLS, I say thank you very much.